John 3:16. In the city of Chicago, one cold, dark night, a blizzard was setting in, and a little boy was selling newspapers on the corner. But the people were passing by, trying to hurry to their warm homes, where they could be in and out of the cold. The little boy was so cold, and he wasn't selling very many papers. He walked up to a policeman and said, "Mister, you wouldn't happen to know where a poor little boy could find a warm place to sleep tonight, would you? You see, I live in a box around the corner and down the alley a ways there, and it gets awful cold there, mister, of a night, and it sure would be nice to have a nice warm place to stay." The policeman looked down at the little boy and said, "You go down this street to that big white house down yonder. You knock on that door, and when they come to the door, you just say, John 3:16, and they'll let you in." So he did. He walked up the steps, and he knocked on the door, and a lady came to the door, and he looked up and said, John 3:16. The lady said, "Come on in, son." She took him in and set him down in a big split-bottom rocker by a great big old fireplace, and then she went off. He sat there for a while, and he thought to himself, John 3:16, I don't understand it, but it sure does make a cold boy warm. Later she came back, asked him, "Are you hungry, son?" "Well, just a little bit," he said. I hadn't eaten in a couple days, and I guess I could stand a little bit of food." She took him into a kitchen, and she set him down at a table. It was just full of all kinds of nice food, and he ate till he couldn't stand it any more. Then he thought to himself again, John 3:16. Boy, I don't understand it, but it sure makes a little hungry boy full. She took it upstairs to a bathroom, and a big old bathtub was there filled with warm water. He sat there and he soaked for a while. As he soaked, he thought to himself, my, John 3:16. I don't understand it, but it sure does make a dirty little boy clean. You know, I've not had a bath, I don't know when. I guess it's been my whole life. The only bath I ever had was when I stood in front of the big old fire hydrant and they flushed them out. She came in, and she got him and she tucked him into a big old feather bed, pulled the covers up around his neck, kissed him good night, turned out the lights. He lay there in the darkness and looked out the window. Snow was just coming down everywhere. It's so cold and dark outside, he thought to himself, my, John 3:16. I don't understand it, but it sure does make a tired little boy rested. The next morning, the lady came back up again and got him and took him to that same big old table full of food. After he ate, she took him back into that same old split-bottom rocker in front of the fireplace. She took a big old Bible and sat down in front of him. She looked up at him and said, Son, do you understand John 3:16? He said, No, ma'am, I don't. I really don't. The first time I ever heard it was last night when that policeman told me up there. He told me to use it. She opened the Bible to John 3:16, and she began to explain to this little one here about Jesus. Right there in front of that big old fireplace, he gave his heart and his life to Jesus. He sat there, and he thought, my, John 3:16? I don't understand it, but it sure does make a little lost boy saved. I have to confess sometimes I don't understand it either. How God would be willing to send His Son to die for me, and how Jesus would agree to do such a thing. I don't understand it either, but it sure does make anyone, just anyone that's lost, saved. Amazing grace. Oh yes, that amazing grace saved a wretch like me. And I too was lost, but now I'm found. And I was blind, but now I see. Amen.